She traded Silicon Valley spreadsheets for the steam of a rice cooker. Yeah, really. A former big tech innovator turned culinary explorer, she's moving from intimate tastings to building the bridge to a full-blown Bangladeshi kitchen. Join us as we talk shop, spice, and the leap of faith from tech to taste. This is the culinary leap from corporate.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my podcast, The Culinary Leap. As you have heard from my friend Daniel, who is not an AI recorded voice, I know you probably were thinking it sounded so smooth. Is it really a real person? And it is. And it's funny because I think about 6 years ago, Daniel and I had done a video podcast and it was a whole lot about nothing. And his caption was that too. And it was based on his favorite show ever, Seinfeld, which is a show about nothing. And I am starting to think my podcast is a whole lot of nothing. But I love it. It's abstract. It really has no theme. The only commonality is that it's about Bangladeshi food. It's me speaking about things I love to speak. A lot of the times it's about the tasting menus that are coming up. And sometimes it's about what I'm going through in my food journey, but also, as my podcast title is The Culinary Leap, it's the culinary leap from corporate. And today it's very fitting because as of 2 weeks ago, I received a notice that my role has been made redundant. So I work at Google and I now have 2 months to find a different role in the company. So the sweet thing is I'm getting paid to look for a job. So my full-time job now is interviewing. And while I'm interviewing, I'm finding a lot about myself and how much I really do not want to keep doing this. So I hope one of my interviewers isn't listening. And the great part is this podcast isn't popular enough. So by the time I'm famous, which is probably in a couple of years, I will hopefully already be a restaurant owner and I will not be reliant on corporate anymore. So that's where I'm hedging my bets right now while I'm speaking to you. So I'm going to be super honest about it, about everything that I'm going through in this journey. I felt like I was already looking to be cornered and I needed that push to really just take that risk of owning a full-blown restaurant. And if you asked me back in December or even September last year, my plan was to quit by now. But when I did the math and when I did some assessment on why I want to do this fast, do I want to fail fast or do I want to be more strategic about what it entails to open up a full-blown restaurant without any experience in the restaurant industry? The only experience I have so far is giving myself that experience. So I have been hosting 6-course, 2-cocktail or mocktail tasting menus at my home since June last year. And every time I'm getting better, I've done 14 so far and a few catering events as well. And I am loving it every single time more and more. I'm getting better. I'm getting faster. I'm getting more efficient. I'm developing more delicious recipes. I'm finding my style. I'm getting better at plating, all of the good stuff. But I think being in a restaurant environment, as in working in the kitchen or even working front of house or, ideally managing a restaurant would be great for me experience-wise. And not to say I'm going to wait for all of this to happen before opening up my restaurant, but right now I'm building and saving the capital and also hoping through some of these tasting menus or my catering events that I will be able to attract some investors who really believe in me and know that this is only the beginning and I want to start a restaurant empire. I'm not going to stop at one restaurant. So the dream's big and I just need someone to see that in me. Looking at my career trajectory, it's fair for me to say that I will be successful. I will be extremely hardworking and all of the good stuff that is needed in an entrepreneur. But most importantly, the thick skin and not giving up is where I think I'll shine the most. And I know when I speak to people, it just translates to them, the passion, the audacity of dreaming, things that, normally people would shy away from talking about. But I think you need to sometimes speak things into reality and behave according to what your plan is or what your dream is. And then everything else kind of follows that. So I feel like I have a good feeling about whatever's going to come up in the next few years. But right now, I'm really assessing how I feel internally about showing up to interviews, because I do want to save a lot of money in the next 2 years for my restaurant. And the best way to do that myself is to work at a big tech company. And that's where my mind's at. And more on the supper club or tasting menu side, I just hosted my 14th tasting menu, which was inspired by my recent trip to Bangladesh in January, and also a little bit of the Toronto trip I had last month or earlier this month, where I was able to eat a lot of Bangladeshi feasts because a lot of my family also lives there. So the menu was a repeat of the last tasting menu in March, but also some sprinkles of my Toronto trip. And it's also celebrating Bengali New Year, which happened on the 14th of April. Speaking of which, my next event is on the 25th, the upcoming Saturday, which is a canapé event. And it's also going to celebrate a little bit late, but the Bengali New Year with bites, appetizers, canapés, some drinks, and more importantly, it's going to be a visual display with a lot of colors, a lot of art. I want to explore that side of me as well. And I wanted to do a table edible display. So I'm designing that as we speak. And I have asked some friends and friends of friends to show up wearing white and muted colors, because I've hired a professional photographer and videographer to film the whole thing. So the focus for that event will mainly be to capture the essence of what I'm trying to do, to take a lot of pictures for social media and really up my social media photography and videography, as one of my mentors, Lisa, has advised me to do. So I'm listening to all the good advice that I'm getting from my mentors and really trying to shoot for the stars and invest a little bit into social media and photography. So hoping that it works out. A lot of the items will be bites, like I mentioned. One of them will be my very popular Naga Morich Shingara, which is essentially a small samosa, mini samosa that I've had back in Bangladesh in January, and it was flavored with Naga Morich, which is the Bengali ghost pepper. And I really want to incorporate some colorful mashed veggies, which we call bhartas, which is also a popular thing we love to eat with rice during Bengali New Year. And of course, I can't forget pitas, which is this huge genre of rice flour cookies, intricately decorated by hand. And it takes a while, but it looks pretty. And depending on the type, it can be fluffy, it can be crispy on the outside, it can be soaked in sugar syrup, it can be soaked in molasses syrup, which is gur. And I have all these different ingredients that I collected from Bangladesh, from Toronto, because Toronto also has a wide array of Bengali grocery stores, which I love. So I was able to explore that when my cousin Rini took me there this time. So I was able to collect some of those things. And I really want to create an edible display that will be a feast for the eyes, but also a feast in itself for your stomach. So right now I have a few of my female friends who signed up. I just need a couple more males for the video. And again, you don't have to have acting experience. You just need to stand in the background and pick on food and pretend that it's delicious. Well, you don't have to pretend if it actually is delicious, but I'll let you decide that. So if you're interested, click on the link on my newsletter and sign up, and we'll get you in. Hope to see some of you people there, and look forward to sharing more news very shortly.
Thanks for joining us for another session of the Culinary Leap from Corporate. Still figuring it out, one dish at a time. We're signing off and heading back to the stovetop. Catch you at the next tasting. Coda Havez. Did I say that right?